Hey everybody, it's Joanne Musa, the Tax Lien Lady, and it is Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live, where you get to ask me your questions about tax liens or tax deeds, and I answer them here on Facebook. So when you come on, just say hello, and so that I know who you are and where you're from so that I can better answer your questions because I am not on Facebook. I'm doing this through something called StreamYard, which makes it really easy for me to do things like live stream to Facebook and see your comments. And if I need to, show you my screen. But I've also got my whiteboard right here behind me. So if I need to show you something on there. So just say hello, let me know where you're from because tax lien investing is different everywhere. So I can answer your question better if I know what state you're in or what state you're investing in. Okay, I do have an announcement for you today. Right now, there's some online tax sales going on around the country. And this is the season for the Arizona tax sales. Now, I don't have too many state specific courses. I really only have state specific courses for 3 states. One of them is Arizona. And because now is the time for the Arizona tax sales, I've recently updated that course. Excuse me. I call these trainings my Done With You trainings, and they're called Done With You trainings because when I recorded them, I actually did them live while these tax sales were going on and showed the registrants who were in the live course how they could look over my shoulder and see how to register for these tax sales, how I did due diligence and chose the right properties to bid on and determined what to bid for these properties and actually how to put the bids in for these properties. So I have Done With You trainings for Arizona, the Indiana Commissioner sales, and for Maryland. And since right now the Arizona trainings are going on, I've updated the Arizona course for 2022. So if you guys have that course, when you log on, you'll see the updates for 2022, the dates that you could register for these tax sales, and the dates that bidding ends for these tax sales. Most of them are going to be on realauction.com. One of the counties is on GovEase, which is not my favorite platform. Real Auction makes it a lot easier. But also, if you have that course, if you have the Arizona training, you'll also get in on my first workshop for 2022 for free. And that workshop is February, it's a 2-day workshop, February 1st and February 2nd. The first day is a Tuesday, the second day is the following Monday. It will be from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And the way to get into that workshop is, again, if you want to get into it for free, if you have the Arizona training. Don't have the Arizona training, if you get it by the end of this month, you will still get into the work. And the reason it's by the end of this month is because the first workshop is February 1st. And the information to register for the workshop is in the Arizona training. The other way that you will be getting the registration link for the Arizona training days is if you've got the conference, the VIP access to the conference that we did. Was it last week or the week before? I think it was the week before last. It was the first Wednesday and Thursday of this month. We did the Investing for Success Wealth Building Conference. Well, if you got a VIP ticket to that conference, you will also get access to the workshop. I gave that as one of the bonuses for VIPs. Okay, so what questions can I answer for you today? All right. And as you come in, just say hello. Let me know who you are. Put it in the comments in Facebook. I am not in Facebook. So, but I can see the comments. I'm doing this from StreamYard, which lets me see the comments from Facebook. So, and I think Nicole is with us today also. And Nicole has just put the link in there for you. Is it, not that link. Don't use that link. Delete that. Delete that comment, Nicole. Use the link taxlienlady.com Arizona online tax sales. Use that one. That's an old page, and yeah, I don't like that old page. Let's give them the new page. Okay, but thank you for putting that in there, Nicole. Yeah, it's at taxlienlady.com/ Arizona online tax sales. Hi, Jennifer from Chicago. Okay, you're familiar with tax deeds, but find that big corporate buyers seem to win out. It's discouraging. Yeah, what have you done? You've done tax deeds. Have you done the tax liens? Illinois is very competitive, and I'm not crazy about Illinois, but Indiana, I like Indiana better, even though it's competitive. I like the Indiana commissioner sales. So Jennifer, tell me if you've been to the Indiana commissioner sales. You know that Indiana is really close to Chicago, and Merrillville is Indiana, and it is a suburb of Chicago. Okay, yes, thank you, Nicole, for putting that link in there for the Arizona online tax sale training. All right, by the way, this training is 4 weeks worth of training. So there's 4 sessions, and then there are 4 Q&A sessions that are recorded. And if you get into the training, you'll get the link to register for the 2-day workshop that we're doing while these tax sales are going on this year. Okay, so what I recommend to you, Jennifer, is forget about Illinois, because especially Cook County, Illinois is so competitive. So try the Indiana sales that are around Chicago. And honestly, the further away you go from the bigger cities, the better off you are. But in I think it was 2018 or 2000. It was right before COVID, so maybe 2018. I took one of my clients to the Lake County Commissioner sale. It was live at that time. Since then, it's gone online, but I think it might be live again. I'm not sure. But he bought 3 properties. He bought 3 liens. It's not a deed sale, so you're not buying the property, you're buying the liens on the property for $15,000, and he wound up foreclosing on one of them. And he's now renting it out. Yeah, he did very well in that sale. So, okay. All right, so let me know, anybody else that has any questions about how to get started, or anything else that you have a challenge with, or where to go, you know, if where you are investing is not such a great place like Jennifer. Okay, thank you. Nicole gave me a question from Riley on Facebook. Are expired tax lien certificates worth anything? I have 42 over 10 years old. What state? I need to know what state they're in. It depends on the state when they expire. If they're in New Jersey, they're still good. If they're in most other states, they're not. Okay. New Jersey has a 20-year, New Jersey tax liens don't expire for 20 years. Some other tax liens do expire at 10 years or some at 7 years. It just depends on the state. Totally depends on the state. And if he's not live, Nicole, we just have to ask him the question. That depends on the state. And expired liens are not worth anything. Yeah, so don't buy expired liens if you're buying excuse me, if you're buying secondary liens, don't buy expired liens. And that's one of the things that you have to check. In the state that you are buying the liens, when do they expire? That is totally different than the redemption period. Okay. For instance, in Maryland, the redemption period is 6 months, but liens expire, I believe, after 2 years after the tax sale. So the expiration is always after the redemption period is over. They give you some time after that. New Jersey is the longest that I know of. It's 20 years. Some states do not have expiration periods, but there's certain things that you have to do or the lien is not worth anything. And if you don't do them within a specified amount of time, it's the same thing as having your lien expire. Okay. Yeah, and Jennifer's saying that she hopes buying liens or deeds will help her in her retirement years. What I use for my retirement is investing in a tax lien fund. I am now the manager of a tax lien fund. Now, to invest in this fund, you have to be an accredited investor, and the minimum investment is $100,000. But for those of you who have the money to invest and don't have the time to do it and want to use it for your retirement, that is a really good option. And if you're interested in that, you could private message me, or if you are only if you're an accredited investor and if you have at least $100,000 to invest, you can send an email to documents at Tax Lien Fund LP and get more information about the fund. But tell them that you spoke with me or you heard me speak, and that you are an accredited investor and you would like more information. Okay. All right, any other questions? I am here to answer your questions. Okay, so this doesn't work unless you bring me your questions, guys. Also, let me know what state you're in. And thank you, Jennifer, for letting me know that you're in Chicago, because that really helped me answer your question and get you started in the right direction. So if anybody else would like that, please let me know. And Nicole just put that email that I told you in the comments. Again, don't even bother unless you're an accredited investor and have $100,000 to invest. If you're not an accredited investor or you don't have that much money to invest, that's fine. That's who I help. I help people who want to do it themselves. Okay, Jennifer is asking, does the Arizona training take you step by step? I'm interested in Arizona and Michigan properties as well. Yes, the Arizona takes you step by step through Arizona. Is a state specific training. Michigan, I don't have a specific training for Michigan, but I do have a training for the online tax deed sales, where I do have videos on Michigan in that course. So that is the online tax deed sales training. And Nicole, that is at onlinetaxdeeds.com, onlinetaxdeeds.com. Hi, Denise. Yeah, you got here on time. So tell me, where are you from and what can I help you with? And if you guys missed anything, the replay is going to be on Facebook. When this is done, it will also be put on my YouTube channel. So and that's for people, because there's some people that just don't want to be on Facebook. That's fine. They could watch it on YouTube. But they just won't be there live to ask me their questions live. And that's the benefit that you get. You get to ask me your questions live, so that if maybe there's something to your question that I didn't quite answer, you can continue asking me until I answer your entire question. Okay. Hi, Zeb. Okay, Arizona, all of the liens we have won end up being redeemed. Yeah, they mostly do. And that's one thing that I tell people, don't think you're going to get the property. 99% of tax liens redeem across the country. So that's not a way to get property. Tax liens is not a way to get property. We have only been at this for a few years. Any tips on screening for liens that have a high potential for not being redeemed? Deceased owner with no known relatives. Also interested in tips on where to research this information on owners. I usually Google a lot, but there may be a better approach. Oh yeah, there's a really easy approach that I use with all members of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. We are changing that membership, but my coaching clients also get access to this tool. And it's called Tax Sale Finders, and it lets you find out not only what tax sales are coming up all across the country, but it actually lets you look at the properties in the sale and get the assessment data on the properties. You have to do a little bit more to get the owner, to find out who the owner is. But in the online sales, you can always find out if the owner lives there or not. Okay, because they let you know like the owner's address and the property address. So, but that is no guarantee that you're going to get the property. If you want the property, then tax lien sales are not the way to go. You know, Arizona also has tax deed sales. So does Indiana. There's a lot of states that have online tax deed sales. If you're looking to get the property, I don't recommend tax liens. I recommend redeemable deeds. You have a little bit better chance. In some states, 50% instead of 1% chance of getting the property. You have a better chance in the Indiana commissioner sales. Okay, you can look, and here's what I would do. I would look for vacant properties, which you're not going to know unless you physically look at the property, with out-of-state owners. But that still doesn't mean you're going to get the property. But you might try that. Okay. Denise, I haven't been able to get a hold of my attorney. It's been 2 weeks. I received the check for the same amount that I paid for, no interest, no attorney fees. Did I lose my attorney fees? Denise, I need more information. You need to tell me what state that is. And why do you have attorney fees? Is that Indiana? And it could be that your attorney didn't file the proper paperwork, and that's why you didn't get the attorney fees. Or it could have redeemed right away. But you do need to get a hold of your attorney. Oh, Maryland. Okay, Maryland's a little different, Denise. This is how it works. They refund you your money, and then you have to go do the foreclosure. There's a whole process you have to do in Maryland. And you do need to get a hold of your attorney. Things have to be done just right. And there are resources about how that all works inside Tax Sale Finders, which I use with all my clients and all my coaching clients and members of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator, which we're in the process of changing right now. Yeah, we do have a Michigan workshop, and Nicole put that in for you. Somebody had asked about Michigan before. I think that might have been Jennifer. We do have a Michigan workshop that's available specifically on Michigan. Tax sale was over 6 months ago and the tax sale voided. Oh, the tax sale was voided. You don't get anything back. except for what you paid without interest because the tax sale was voided. Your attorney should refund you whatever you paid him. I'm really not sure what happens there because the tax sale was voided. Yeah, and in Indiana, well, no, this is not Indiana, it's Maryland. Yeah. Yeah, you have to get a hold of your attorney to find out because they're only going to pay you because it was voided. They're only going to pay you, they're only going to refund you your money that you paid in. Voided means it's voided for different reasons. But if the property was sold in error, it was voided. That means that it was not valid. It means the tax sale was not valid. Okay, Zeb, I appreciate your insights. I'll look into where deed sales are occurring in Arizona. I was only aware of tax liens. The data for tax lien foreclosures is available through many regions of Arizona. Most of these sit around 12%. The statutory rate is 16% for tax sales and 12%, but it's bid down at the sale, so 12% is really good. And you're welcome, Denise. You're welcome for that information. So what else can I help you with today? What else can I help you with today? Yeah, I would get a hold of the attorney, Denise, and find out if you could get a refund because it was voided and your tax sale wasn't valid. And Jennifer, if you're going to sign up for Michigan, doesn't start until the end of the summer. All right, it's seasonal. Just letting you know. Arizona's going on now, but Michigan doesn't start until the end of the summer. So you can wait on the Michigan workshop, but you can't wait on the Arizona because here's why. 4 of the counties are already open for registration, and registration is going to close. In some of them, it's going to close in the next week. And bidding's going to end in a couple of weeks on the ones that are open now, on most of them that are open now. Then more will open up, but bidding's going to be over by the middle of February. That's why I'm doing this workshop the first 2 weeks of February. Have you seen tax lien auctions get harder? It depends, Denise. I have not personally invested in Maryland, so I don't know in Maryland. I've personally invested in Indiana, Arizona, New Jersey. I've helped clients in Michigan, South Carolina, and I've gone to South Carolina. I haven't gone to Michigan, but I've helped clients in the online sales in Michigan. And other states too, like Mississippi. I've helped clients in Tennessee, Florida. I've got personal experience in Florida, and I've researched Maryland. I've had clients in Maryland, and I've done the training for Maryland, but I haven't personally bought in Maryland. So whether it's getting harder or not, I don't know. The fact is that it's always been competitive. It's always been competitive. It got a little more competitive after 2008 when hedge funds jumped in. The market crash of 2008, hedge funds jumped in. They were looking for something safer. but it kind of goes up and down. I will tell you, since about 2010, there's been less liens available and more bidders in the marketplace. But here's the trick. You just have to know the data. You have to research to find out. Well, one of the first things I do with my coaching clients is when we pick a place, the right place for them to invest, is we find out about past tax sales. Well, what's happened in the past? What happened at the last tax sale? What kind of properties got sold? And how much were they sold for? How competitive was it? And are there properties that were not as competitive? I will tell you right now, if you go after the single family residential homes, it's going to be very competitive. But target something else that they don't want. Some of these hedge funds don't want land. I target very distressed properties in out of the way places and land, buildable land. Sometimes you can also get commercial properties. Sometimes the larger liens are not as competitive in some of these sales. It depends. Farms is another thing that I like. Okay, Jennifer, I'm glad that I was able to help you. And thank you for being here. Hi, Ray. You didn't miss it. It's still going on, but you could watch the replay to see what you did miss. I have a few more minutes. If you guys have questions, I'll stay here and answer them. Okay, Zeb says 12% to go to foreclosure. Sorry to confuse this with the tax rate. I don't know what you're talking about, Zeb. I think you're talking about something other than tax lien foreclosures. Okay. And Ray, we're kind of talking about Arizona because that's what's going on right now, but we did talk about Maryland and Michigan and Indiana too. So you can watch the replay when this is done. The replay will be here on Facebook. But I'm still here to answer questions, so give me your questions. Give me your questions. And my announcement today was for the first 2-day workshop that I'll be doing for this year. Will be February 1st and February 7th. And the way to get in, there's actually 2 ways to get into the workshop for free. One is all Arizona training clients, all Arizona customers who have the Arizona training will get in for free. I've just updated the Arizona course for 2022, and I've also put the links to register for the workshop there. And the other way is if you bought VIP access to the conference that we did a couple of weeks ago, I also gave the workshop as a bonus to that, and you'll be getting the registration links in your email. Okay. Latsky. Hi, I am in Florida. How is in Florida? How is what in Florida? I'll tell you what, the weather's better than it is here in Pennsylvania. The deeds go on in Florida all the time. Liens only happen in May. So nothing happening now for liens in Florida. It is very competitive. You have to bid down to 0.25% to get any single family homes. But it's worth it because you're going to get a 5% penalty, a straight 5% penalty instead of what you bid if it's less, if your interest is less than 5%. And if it's held for 2 years, you get to do a tax deed application and pay all the outstanding taxes And that all rolls up at 18%. And Nicole just put a link in there to get the VIP access for the conference that we did a couple of weeks ago. And here's the thing, this is a really good deal, guys, because it's $197 to get the VIP access. And you don't just get the replays of the conference of this year's conference. You also get last year's conference, and you get into the workshop for free. Okay. All right, any other questions? Any other questions? Thank you guys for joining me today. We had a pretty good turnout. Have you thought about getting on TikTok? Actually, Denise, we are on TikTok. We just don't do much with it. I'm kind of old school, just getting used to, we're just getting used to Instagram. I don't know what your question is, Lasky. Can we do and multifamily? Can we do what in multifamily? You could certainly do multifamily. It's still going to be competitive. Oh, Nicole says our TikTok was inactive, so they took us down. Oh, well. I guess I'm not ready for TikTok yet. You have to do like really short videos for that. So we haven't put anything there and they took us down. Oh, well. Let's see. Yeah, you could do any type of properties. There's all type of properties in these tax sales. The trick is to make sure that they're valuable properties, or you could lose your money, right? You're not guaranteed to get paid. Your guarantee is the real estate. So you make sure that the real estate is worth it. Now, that's why I like buildable land and distressed properties that have good valuation. Okay. All right, so any other questions? Any other questions? I'll stay here for a couple more minutes and answer your questions if you have some for me. All right, I love answering questions about investing in tax sales because if I don't know something, it challenges me to go find out, right? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Denise. And if I don't know something, I'm not going to make up the answer. I'll just tell you I don't know the answer. and if I know somebody else that might know the answer, I'll point you in the right direction. And if I think I can find out the answer for you, I will do that. Okay. But here's the thing. Some things you don't know unless you do it. So here's what you have to do. You just have to get started. You just have to go do it. Hey, that's how I learned about tax lien investing. I just started going to tax sales. I started going to tax sales in New Jersey. Have I been able to foreclose without an attorney? No, I do not recommend it. I do not recommend foreclosing without an attorney, but it depends on the state. There are some states that you don't need an attorney. So Denise, if you're talking about Maryland, you need an attorney. There's a process that you have to go through in Maryland. And you need it. Some states you don't, but Maryland you do. If you're talking about a different state, let me know. New Jersey, you need an attorney. Indiana, you need an attorney. Okay, me personally, both in Indiana and in New Jersey, the only states that I've actually foreclosed, I've used an attorney. Michigan, you're actually buying the property, so you don't need an attorney because you're buying the deed. States where you're buying the deed, you don't need an attorney. However, you do need an attorney to clear the title. I've done that here in Pennsylvania, done a quiet title process with an attorney. And you need to do that in Florida too. You can do a title certification process with a title company in some states. There are specialized companies that will do that for you. But what you should do, like here in Pennsylvania, it's cheaper to use an attorney, but it takes longer than using a company like Tax Title Services or Meridian Title. And Meridian Title doesn't work, I don't think, here in Pennsylvania. Tax Title Services does. They'll charge twice as much, but they'll get it done a lot faster. Okay, we're talking about clearing the title so that you could get title insurance, which you will need if you're selling a property to somebody who needs to get a mortgage. Okay. All right, any other questions? Thank you for your questions, Denise, and everybody else who gave me questions. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I'm doing a foreclosure right now with an attorney in Pennsylvania. And this is, I think, I've been in this business for 20 years or almost 20 years. And this is the first property it's not the first property that I started foreclosure on. It's I've started foreclosure on maybe 3 or 4, but this, and with a client, I have already foreclosed on one, so maybe 5. This is the first property that in New Jersey that I will foreclose on. That looks like it's actually going to final judgment. The other properties redeemed during the foreclosure process, like 2 or 3 of them redeemed during the foreclosure process. Okay. Any other questions? All right. If you're interested in the Arizona tax lien sales, get the Arizona training now and get into the workshop that we're doing. Or you could get the VIP access to the wealth building conference that we did a couple of weeks ago. We had some great speakers. The first day was on money mindset and strategies for building your wealth. The second day was on investment opportunities that you could take advantage of now. Okay. We had some great speakers. So, all right, everybody. I'll give you a few more seconds to put in your questions if you have any. If not, I will see you next month. We do this the 2nd and the 3rd Tuesday at 2 p.m., 2nd and 3rd Tuesday of the month. Tomorrow is our last group coaching call for members. We are changing the membership. The group coaching call will be only for coaching clients after this month, okay? This is the last group coaching call for members of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator, because we've added so much to the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. And I forgot to tell you, that's the other way to get into the workshop for free, is to become a member of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator, okay? And plus you get the tools to find out what tax sales are coming up all around the country and actually look at properties in the sale. We were giving 50 property reports a month to Tax Lien Profits Accelerator members. That's going to change. It will be 15 a month for members, and for coaching clients, we'll still get 50 property reports a month. All right, so I will put all that in an email later on this week when we have everything down pat, and let all you guys know about it. For now, thank you so much for being here today. I hope you're going to be here with me on our next Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live, which will be Tuesday, February 8th, I believe. Tuesday, February 8th. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye.